Hello, hello, my lovely friends. Welcome back. As I promised, I had mentioned to you guys earlier in the week that I had sat down with Enty Lawyer and we had another discussion. And he was kind enough to share the podcast that we did on his Patreon with me to share with you all here. We had an amazing discussion about Queen Elizabeth and the second anniversary of her passing. We spoke about Catherine's video and a couple other topics. I hope you enjoyed this conversation that we had, and make sure you follow Enty Lawyer on all of his platforms, which I will have linked in the description box below. Let me know what you guys all think of our conversation and if you would like to hear more from Enty and I, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay gorgeous, my beautiful friends. Bye.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. It is time for my monthly check in with MeghansMole. Megan, how are you today?
I am doing great. What a fantastic way to kick off the week.
I know it is a 9-9. I always think that it's a weird one, 9-9. And I remember 999 was 1999, 9999. Um, it's just a strange day. But anyway, we haven't talked in about 5 days. So when you and Paula and I got together
Mm-hmm.
and we talked a little bit, but I wanted to kind of take a little different direction. You and I talk into different things. And Queen Elizabeth, the anniversary of her passing was this weekend.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted there was this crazy stat. And what was it? It was basically she died at the age of 96, spent 7 decades on the throne, which was longer than the reigns of her father, her uncle, her grandfather, and great grandfather combined.
Mm-hmm.
She was older than sliced bread, penicillin, ballpoint pens, nylon, Velcro, the slinky, and FM radio. She reigned for nearly 30% of U.S. history.
It's
Huh?
incredible.
It is.
It's
It's just,
incredible. Like the amount of presidents and prime ministers that she has seen just blows my mind.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
I was just, and it got to me thinking like the other day, somebody was on TikTok probably. And they said, the United States is only three people old. I was like, that's true because the country's not, even 250 years old. So 80 times three is 240. So it really is only three people old.
Mm-hmm.
And, she reigned for 30% of US history.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of when she passed, because it wouldn't be an episode with us if we weren't talking about Meghan Markle, that was, I, that was just such a horrible thing. Like her family is trying to get there, and basically Meghan Markle ruined it for everybody.
She's holding them back. She's holding them back. It was just the audacity for me that you spent the queen basically welcomed Meghan with open arms into the family, fast tracked her, gave her duties that no other royal would have gotten unless they married. There are um, things that Catherine has yet to receive that Meghan Markle has gotten right away. And then you have the nerve to paint the woman that has reigned for over 70 years as a racist colonizer. You paint her out to be a villain while her husband, Prince Philip, is dying. And then you want to pretend like you cared about the queen. I honestly believe, Auntie, that Meghan Markle only wanted to, if she got up to Balmoral, there would have been leaked footage of the queen on her deathbed. I believe that. I believe if she got up there, there would have been images of the queen dead in her room.
That would have been crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the thing is that so everybody knew that the Queen was dying, and okay, well, we got to get up there. We got to get up to Scotland, and Prince Harry insisted that Meghan Markle come. And it was just this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so then they said, we're just going to leave without you.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, they didn't want her there because she had already done the Oprah interview.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that basically, just think about the last year of the Queen's life having to deal with that.
Mm-hmm. I remember the Daily Mail came out with an article where it was Meghan's friends speaking to them, saying that what has been done is done, and the royal family is just trying to use Prince Philip's health to muzzle Meghan Markle from telling her truth. And I'm just like, what the hell?
Um, and then the Queen's staff didn't want her there,
Hmm.
and they didn't want Harry there either,
Hmm.
because I think that they saw him as disloyal. And then Harry wanted to know if Catherine was going. And if Meghan hadn't been there, I 100% believe that she would have gone. But she's like, this is going to cause more problems. So I'm just going to stay behind with the kids, but
Didn't
also to stop Harry.
didn't she have to take those kids to school also, right? The next
Yeah.
day she took the children to school. Yeah, it was a terrible time all around. Like I still get goosebumps talking about it right now. Like I've got goosebumps all over me. I can't believe it's been 2 years, but I feel like yeah, Meghan stopped Harry from seeing the Queen the last time. And you know what, NT, they actually had a chance to see the Queen because remember they went out that way and they went to Dusseldorf for that 1 year to go event. And they had one day off in between where Harry and Meghan went to that event. And then they had a day off. And then the next day, Harry was supposed to be at the Well Child event, which then he didn't go because the Queen passed. They had a chance. They had a whole day to go up and go see the Queen, but they never even cared to go see her. And now that she's dead, now you want to pretend that you care so much about her.
Well, because of that delay, so Prince William didn't get up there, Prince
Hmm.
Edward, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, none of them got up there. They arrived too late. And it probably would have stayed quiet except for Spare, right? It's
Yeah.
just, it was supposed to be this confidential kind of thing. And it just, what can I do? What can I do to make a few bucks and exploit my family? And I didn't really want to jump ahead, but since we're talking about books,
Hmm.
in the book club that Meghan went to on the eve of the anniversary of the Queen's passing, when everybody else is going to church, she's going to Oprah's book club, the bookstore, and all these copies of Spare are right there. And I do wonder now, do you think she's going to write a book?
Do I think Megan's going to write a book?
Yeah.
I think she's going to try, but I think I don't know because here's the thing that she did mention in the Cut article that when they allegedly went back to empty out Frogmore, she came across a diary in her sock drawer. And a part of me wonders if she's just using that information as, oh, just as something to have in her back pocket. But I was going to ask you something about Oprah, if you don't mind.
Ask away.
I want to know because I haven't seen Oprah with Meghan for a while, and now you see Oprah with Meghan at this book club. And number one, I found it funny that Oprah was at this book club who has a higher net worth than Meghan Markle, but yet Meghan Markle is the only one with a bodyguard sitting behind her in that book club. Did you see that?
I did. I thought that was a bit over the top.
There's that, but then also, Enty, I wanted to ask you, is Oprah keeping Meghan close so she can be the first one to get the interview when the divorce does come down the pipeline?
I mean, if the divorce comes down the pipeline, I mean, Oprah would be first, right?
Mhm.
But I think also that Meghan maybe learned a lesson, and not a good lesson, but a lesson when she went on Oprah. She didn't make any money from it, right? She did it for free. And I think that if she went back in time, she'd go, you know what? I should have just made that into a book. and then I would have made a whole bunch of money. Instead, I gave away it all for free.
Hmm.
And I think about that kind of thing. So I was like, yeah, she'd probably go do an Oprah interview, but I also think that Megan's like, gosh, I really missed a money making opportunity because that was the most attention. She should have written the book and then gone on Oprah and said the same things that she said on Oprah, but then she would have made money. And I think that she's probably kicks herself about that every day, especially when she sees, Spare and, how much money she could have made. I think that judging by the people that were at this book club, and I believe you called them randos and psychics,
I sure did.
and you're not far off. And I when she got up to speak and she said, I'm looking at this time as my chapter of joy. The more you're able to look at your life and really truly recognize and be able to be grateful for your life, you have to be grateful for all aspects of it. My intentionality is to enjoy this chapter and be able to love through every piece of this as best we can. I'm not even sure what that means. Um, it's
Word
just a,
salad.
it is, it's a bunch of word salad. It's like, she goes, I'm going to be at a bookstore chapter. It's a chapter of joy. I'm shocked that she didn't try and say something like, um, I'm looking at this as my era's chapter of joy or something like that, just to try and pull in some more people.
Oh goodness. I mean, how do you go from shaking hands with dignitaries and royalty and living in royal palaces? I mean, I'll bet for like less than 18 months to now doing appearances in a bookstore in the middle of Montecito with, like I said, a bunch of randos. It is the biggest fall from grace and the biggest bag fumble in all of history.
Yeah, and one of the reasons, like the what she said, it
Mhm.
sounded so kind of like self-help like, and there were self-help people there, like Brene Brown was there, who basically is a woke version of Tony Robbins, and just repackages ideas, plagiarizes, and I go, oh, that's very Meghan Markle like.
Mhm. I
But
find it,
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
I find it just that the way that she makes her speeches, she tries to mimic the queen because the queen would always say things like we, right? And she would be saying we as a part of like the entire nation. And I think that in Meghan Markle's deluded, deranged head, she actually thinks she's on the level as the queen and can constantly talk down and preach to people.
Speaking of copying, plagiarizing, it did feel like she was wearing a Princess Diana outfit yesterday.
It did. It did.
I guess on Saturday. Yeah, it was just like it looked very similar to one. I was just like, come on,
Mhm.
really? It just I don't know. But I think she also wears outfits that she thinks, like I said before, that she wants to have people, tell you exactly what I'm wearing, and people go buy it or whatever. And I'm convinced that she wears outfits that there aren't very many left of. So then she say, "Oh, they sold out." Um,
Well, she does wear past season outfits too that are no longer available.
see,
So, yeah, that's what she does. Like the outfit that she was wearing to the bookstore was a past season outfit, which was no longer available. And then what the designers will do, because what she did with some of the Colombian designers that she wore, the designs weren't available, but because she wore them, they brought that design back on pre-order only and limited. And then once that sells out, then they claim, oh, Meghan Markle sold out the entire line, when it's not even true.
I know. It was an odd thing to do, and also I don't know, but the bookstore, it just it's gonna get a wave of an initial kind of thing, but I don't know. It's I think that a bookstore is a really bad idea for business right now. And I just
Yeah.
the fact that Megan the fact that she was talking and hugging this self-help person just led me to believe, especially than what she said, that that's what she's going to do is that okay, Harry's not going to maybe let her write a book about her experiences in the royal family. Or maybe she's saving that for when Harry and her get divorced, right? So
Yeah.
then because he needs to be aware that when they get divorced, everything that he has ever told her is going to come out publicly, right? It's just going to be you scorched earth, just burn everything down. What do I care?
Hmm.
And so, okay, but I can write a self-help book and then I'll go with my lifestyle brand and my cooking and all this kind of stuff. And I can tell stories from my childhood and how I had to overcome all of this stuff and, which she didn't have to. And just, come up with a whole bunch of nonsense. And it would be a way for her to, try and sell a book. Is anybody really interested in a Meghan Markle self-help book? But I think that's why she was there. I think it was to meet this like self-help person and just to say, hey, maybe we could do something together or whatever. I feel like it goes with her lifestyle brand. It is also interesting that she finally did hang out with Oprah because it does feel like it's been a minute.
Yeah, Oprah didn't look too happy to see her though. I'm just wondering though, was Megan a last minute addition to that book club? Do you know? Because the women that were hosting the event at the book club, I noticed in the photos that they had mic packs on and were mic'd up. And of course, our favorite Duchess of Montecito had her microphone in her hand. Was she supposed to be there or was she a last minute addition? I'm just wondering.
I don't think that they got the guest list that they wanted, even with Oprah.
Okay.
I think that that was part of the problem. So let's bring in Megan or whatever. And Megan's not going to say no to Oprah.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, but I think also the holding the microphone, that's just kind of her,
Her
I don't
thing.
know, her thing, right? She always wants to hold the microphone. I think it's because it gives her the power. Like nobody else can talk if I'm holding the microphone, right?
Mm.
And there was that thing, I'm trying to remember. She took it from Harry one time or something like that. Was that at the Kevin?
That was
No,
that
it wasn't at the
Kalinga.
Kevin Costner one. But there's a time that she just like takes it from him, and she knows that whoever has the microphone has the control, and I think that that's why she likes to hold it. Um, I was thinking about going back again to the Queen, and
Hmm.
then let's talk about the wedding.
Okay.
Let's talk about the royal wedding,
Hmm.
Meghan and Harry's wedding, and Meghan had wanted a red carpet.
Hmm.
Catherine had a red carpet.
Yeah.
Meghan, wanted a red carpet too. And Catherine's equal.
But
But Queen
there's
Elizabeth
rules.
said no.
There are rules, darling. There are rules. You don't get the red carpet. You're not marrying the future king. They offered her the blue carpet, but she didn't want it. She
Yeah,
wanted the red
see,
one.
I'm glad you said that. Okay, because there was no carpet. Okay, so then everybody's like, okay, well, see, the royal family is just treating her horribly. They didn't even give her a carpet.
No, she turned it down.
See, because every other royal had the blue carpet,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's just what you're supposed to get is the
Yeah.
blue carpet.
But she didn't want that. She wanted to be the same as William and Catherine, equals, but they're not.
And because you'll hear this all the time. Oh, Queen Elizabeth was so mean to her. Because Meghan had been mean to the Queen's close friend and dresser, and the staff. And yeah, Meghan was, but the Queen, eh, like you said, she's dealt with so many prime ministers and politicians and heads of state, and just, she can handle anything. She
Hmm.
certainly can handle the Meghan Markle.
Hmm.
And she's not going to be petty, I guess is my thing. Queen Elizabeth's not going to be petty. And so hey, you want the blue? No, I don't want the blue. So it wasn't Queen Elizabeth being mean. It was Meghan being whiny.
Hmm.
And then Meghan walks down the aisle by herself, right? Um, Now
Halfway down by
halfway
herself.
down, right? Because King Charles at the time, Prince Charles, thought that Meghan was still going to make a good royal, right?
Yeah.
And said, hey, I'll meet you halfway down the aisle. Your dad's in the hospital with a second heart attack. Um, Camilla
Hey,
didn't like her though, even from the beginning.
Camilla was smart.
And what's interesting is that people don't talk about the fact that for this wedding of this magnitude, there were a lot of empty seats. And I wonder if it's because people didn't want to come. Maybe they didn't invite a full house. Um, it was really, really interesting. But Meghan never said anything about her dad being hospitalized.
Mhm.
She said, "Oh, he embarrassed me and the royal family with the paparazzi photos." But it had been Meghan who had set him up.
And Megan's been taking paparazzi photos forever and still doing it. But
And
yeah.
I, I don't think the royals at the time, I don't think they understood exactly what was going on, right? They just, she's got a lot of drama in her family. I can imagine the conversations, but I don't think that they knew because I don't think that she was being completely forthright with them about everything that was going on. And then, but it upset Queen Elizabeth that Meghan didn't have any family coming to the wedding. She's like, "Where's your family? I mean, this is a big deal." And she wants to discuss it with Meghan, but Meghan only wanted her mom there.
Hmm. They tried. The royal family tried. They
But
asked her, like, why won't you go and talk to your father? We'll get you a flight down there. Go speak. She wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it. And
and
only just her mother there with a bunch of celebrities that don't even know her. Not
you
even
know,
Harry's friends were allowed to come to the after party.
no, and it's been a long time since I've talked about it,
Mhm.
but basically, Meghan did what I'm trying to compare it to. When I think about some abusive spouse, what they try to do is they try to isolate you,
Yeah.
right? They want to control you, and we know that Meghan is very control. And so then they isolate you, and then they take away your friends and anything, any kind of semblance, anything that could keep you not under the control. Oh, you want to go out? I've got something going on today. And it happens all the time. It's like when Harry wanted to go watch the soccer match. Oh, we might have some people coming over. You really should hang out here because I really don't want you going anywhere. And it's the same kind of thing. Okay, I can't control everybody in my family. I can control my mom though. And I just need to control the narrative. And I need to get through this wedding so that way I will have secured the bag. So whatever I can do just to get through to the wedding and get it all done. I think that that's basically, you know, what she was doing. And I remember from that service, like the pastor, like was supposed to only talk for like 4 or 5 minutes or something, and talked forever and ever and ever. Um, and it was also crazy that I think that when Megan got out of the Rolls Royce, didn't she like slap the guy's hand away or something like that?
Yeah, the gentleman, well, if you notice, Auntie, first of all, when Megan was leaving to head towards the chapel, Doria was in the Rolls Royce with her. And then when she was exiting at the chapel, Doria was no longer in the Rolls Royce. So I'm trying to first figure out where did they drop off Doria because Megan wanted her own moment. And then when she was coming out of the vehicle, she was struggling with her dress because there was just too much fabric. And the gentleman extended his hand to help her. And what was actually said is that she cussed the guy out, said F you to him, and smacked his hand away. And you see his reaction.
He's just trying to help. And
Yeah.
apparently the rehearsal, I guess, didn't go well, right?
Mhm.
Um, because she was just out of control. And I think that that's maybe still where, but still, to give Charles credit and Queen Elizabeth, it was just I think that they were willing to give the benefit of the doubt just because they had never really met anybody like this before. And I'm trying to imagine like Queen Elizabeth just saying, really, this is, the guy that the woman that Harry wants to be with. Um, but then they said, you know what? Maybe just Meghan was stressed, right? About the wedding. It's wedding planning and stuff. Maybe that's why she was acting entitled. Maybe that's why she was being such a pain. And they didn't get a balcony moment, right? So they had to drive around the carriage.
They had to drive around the carriage, the same carriage that Megan, when she first saw the what was it, the crowds, you know what came out of her mouth and it was caught all on cameras. Oh fuck. Holy fuck, she says.
And then and then Queen Elizabeth hosts this wedding luncheon, right? Okay. For everybody who had attended the ceremony. Then they did the nighttime one, right? And that's the one that Harry's friends weren't allowed to go to, I think. And Meghan wanted to give a toast. And she said, "Oh, it was love at first sight." And then she talked about it right then about, launching all these campaigns and stuff. And everybody, I think that day was like, why is Oprah here? Right? Because I don't think anybody could understand who was there. Well, why is Oprah here? Because Megan's gonna live in England, right? So it's not like she and Oprah are gonna be hanging out or anything. And she doesn't even know Oprah.
Mhm.
George Clooney didn't know them either.
Mhm.
Um, but he saw it as a marketing opportunity for his tequila and basically ordered the bartenders to only use Casamigos tequila. And
Really?
yeah,
I did not know that.
yep. They weren't allowed to, like, he said, hey, don't use any other tequila and stuff. I'm sure because it's England that they had a lot of gin and stuff, but there was no other tequila. He said, no, only use this. He brought
Ugh.
tequila with him.
Wow. I did
And I,
not.
yeah. So I think that he saw that as a marketing opportunity because he didn't know them. And I've told my story before about like Reese Witherspoon or whatever got invited and said, I'd like to go to a royal wedding, but I don't know them. So why would I go?
Mhm.
You don't just go to people's weddings that you don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if this story is true or not, but at the end, maybe you do. But at the end of the night, they had the fireworks and everything like that.
Mhm.
And supposedly Charles asked Harry who was paying for the fireworks because I don't think he knew that there were going to be fireworks. And he said, you're going to pay
Oh my goodness. I wouldn't be surprised about that. I wouldn't be
because
surprised.
because I don't think he knew about the fireworks. And and so he asks Harry, who's going to pay? And he goes, you are. And I guess that the wedding what was it, like $40 million or something like that?
It was 32 million pounds just for the security alone. So I'm thinking the wedding was at least like 46 million pounds or something like that.
And then you have that. And then so I don't think like Charles didn't have unlimited money, and it was way over budget. And it's just like, you're going to pay. It's just this attitude of, aren't you going to pay for it kind of
And
thing.
not only that, Enty, I don't know if you're aware that Charles also paid for Doria's outfits.
I
The
didn't know that.
Yeah. So it was said that Doria bought 10 different outfits for this wedding that was all paid for Charles. When Doria was leaving LA to head to the UK for the wedding, she left with a Burberry clothing bag with her outfits in it. And then when she arrived to the UK, she came off the plane with an Oscar de la Renta clothing bag. And yeah, Charles bought 10 outfits for Doria, and we only saw her wear one, which was the Oscar de la Renta, which was apparently a freebie that Meghan Markle had gotten for her mother, but Charles paid for these. Charles also paid for Meghan Markle's dress, all the flowers, everything for that wedding. Yeah.
Okay. Then they had the honeymoon. And I get confused because Harry wrote in his book that they wound up, spending 10 days in the Mediterranean or something. I feel like that there was some kind of fight because they didn't take this honeymoon right after the wedding, right? because they both wanted to work a little bit and then leave. And I wonder what's the working a little bit? Like, what kind of work?
Let's be honest. It was cutting side deals with Oprah.
Yes, because she was texting Oprah at this point.
Oh, she
Yeah.
was?
Yes. So Megan was texting Oprah, and I don't know if the connection was made prior to the wedding festivities. I don't know if it started when she sent out the invitation to Oprah.
Mm.
But at this point, she was texting with Oprah. So I wonder if this was delayed because she met with Oprah. Um, she Megan had kept her lawyer, her entertainment lawyer. She'd kept her manager.
Mhm.
Why are you doing that? She had kept her clothes and other items in storage in LA. She was already planning on coming back.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
at the same time, but she didn't tell the queen or anybody. And, you said it at the beginning. She was given so much stuff compared to Catherine, right? And the cottage and all this kind of stuff. She got everything. She didn't even have to do anything. She barely had to make any appearances at all while they were there.
yeah.
And I don't know. They bent over backwards for her, and then she just stabbed him in the back.
That's what I'll never understand. That's what I'll never understand is that how are you so welcoming and so open yourself to someone who hasn't even shown you a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of trust, a little bit of, hey, I'm here to work for you. Like I deserve what you're giving me. Like she didn't show any humility. She didn't show anything. It's like Megan just acted like she deserved all this because she was marrying the dimwit. And can we like, Auntie, let's be honest, Harry hasn't been the spare since George was born.
True.
So I think Harry needs to stop calling himself the spare because he's no longer the spare. We should call him the dimwit who is fifth in line.
Yeah, maybe his sequel should be fifth in line.
Yeah,
Um,
it should be.
because most people who are fifth in line, I know that in England in high society, they always go, it's fun to play the game of, where are you in line? Oh, I'm 22nd to the throne. And it's a kind of a braggy thing. Oh, I'm only 30th. You know, so I understand that. And that's like a game. And it's supposed to make you feel better that you're closer to, you know, but when you're fifth, it's really, a lot of bad things gonna happen. It's gonna, it's gonna be like that John Goodman movie where everybody dies and all of a sudden this guy from America gets to be the king. You know, um, I just, I think that Oprah knew that her wedding invitation would give her a chance, not only to have access to Meghan, but also to Doria. Right? Oprah was hanging out with Doria, and when would Oprah ever have a chance to be this close and interact with all these different royals? Right? Maybe she could get some scoop. Maybe she could get somebody else on her show. Maybe she could write a book. Whenever. I think she went into it as a journalist first and, basically convinced Megan, hey, I can help you. I can help you. And I just, the thing that gets me is just, I think that the Queen, especially, the anniversary of the passing. Just if you go back and look, she did so much, and it probably makes the rest of the family angry that hey, she did everything for you, and you decided, you didn't give me exactly what I wanted. You know, I didn't. I just wanted to be rich and sit around and do nothing, and have all the attention, and have Diana stuff, and have free clothes.
Yeah. She wants to be what she claimed she didn't want to be, and that was a lady who lunches. That's what he
Yes,
really wants to be.
and she ran a scam. This was still when she was in England. She was running a scam. I don't know how much money they get for clothes or whatever
Hmm.
that they got, but she was getting designer stuff for free, and then just saying that she bought it and just pocketing the money. I mean, so that's just That's the kind of grift. I mean, when you have to run that kind of grift, when you have it, that's like a low rate grift kind of thing. And just like, oh, nobody will know, here, this designer or whatever. And oh, it costs $10,000 or whatever. I'll just keep the $10,000 and stuff like that. That's just like low rent grift. Um, let's talk about Princess Catherine and finishing her chemotherapy and what you thought of the video.
Oh, onions. Who was cutting onions? I swear I was crying when I was watching that. I was crying. And Enty, there are photos of I think I posted it on my ex account where in one shot you have William basically laying over top of Catherine like he's about to smooch her. And I posted that Meghan Markle is probably looking at this photo going, it should be under William. It should. This couple really, like Catherine's video couldn't have come at the most perfect time, really. Like people, the world loves her and people are just curious. They want to know how she's doing. And just seeing the video of her getting through chemotherapy treatments, but she still has a road ahead of her, we see how close this family is. And the love between her and William is something you just cannot fake. I know that Meghan and Harry like to claim that they have the world's greatest love story and it's such a fairy tale, but it's actually William and Catherine who have the love story that every little girl really dreams of, kind of in a way, or they used to, where you go to school, you meet the man of your dreams, then you marry him and become a family, like you start a family together. And just seeing them just shows you like they're always about positivity. They're all about family. They're all about being together and close and having a close bond with, like, they really emphasized family in the video. And then you look over to Harry and Meghan, and they're just one big dark cloud who can't stand their families. And it just shows you the contrast between the two couples. But I am so grateful and thankful that Catherine's treatments are going well. She's getting better, she's getting stronger. And let's be honest, the media needs her. Like they need their clicks from her. Just look at today. All of the media have exploded with Catherine. She sells and she gets the clicks and she doesn't have to pay anyone, which is hilarious. I was saying that Prince William the other day literally had to show up with a little bit of facial hair and got press all over the place. Like he broke the internet, whereas Meghan and Harry are dumping six figures on PR and you're barely getting clicks. I mean, it's just a win for the Wales family, let's be honest.
Let me ask you a question that I just thought about when you were talking.
Yeah.
And let's pretend it's 30 years ago. Okay.
Okay.
And Harry brings home Meghan.
Hmm.
Would he have been allowed to marry her? And I bring that up because I'm thinking about Prince Andrew and Koo Stark.
Hmm.
And everybody was just, oh my gosh, what is he doing with her? He can't ever marry her. She's like a model. And, that would just be horrific.
Yeah.
And, and, and I was just like, well, how's it any different with Meghan? I don't remember if Koo Stark had posed naked already,
Mhm.
um, or if that was after the relationship. I can't remember. But it's not like, Meghan didn't have any, even no nudity, but, sex scenes, simulated sex scenes or whatever. And I do wonder if 30 years ago, if Harry would have been allowed to marry her. And
That's a difficult one because if we think about it, 30 years ago, like you're saying, Diana would have still been alive, right?
yes.
And a part of me, I always say, Auntie, that had, let's say, if Diana was alive and Harry brought home Meghan, like you said, I personally don't think that Meghan Markle would have gotten along with Diana. And I feel like because Diana was a big star in her own way and she had the love of the world, I feel like Meghan would have hated her and would have eventually called her a racist also.
Yeah. And plus, Megan would have been trying to bang Dodie.
Oh my
Um, get that Fayed money. I think I think that's what she would have been doing, just behind the
God.
scenes or whatever. Now that's another interesting thing though, because I hadn't thought about what if Diana had been alive,
Mhm.
and when Harry brings home Meghan, but then that's a whole sliding door situation because then maybe Harry wouldn't be so
Such a mess.
maladjusted. Yeah, it wouldn't be such a mess, and
I
I didn't.
often think that too. I often think that too. If Diana had never passed away, would Harry be the little dipshit that he is today? And a part of me thinks that he would, because Diana like did treat him differently because he wasn't going to be the next king of England. And I
Yeah,
think he would have always been coddled. He would have always been a little brat because I remember, I'll never forget a story that I read about when Harry was 3 and he was driving one of those little motorized cars in the palace down the hallways. And he would go and bang his car to the shins of the courtiers that were in the hallway. And he would just laugh, and Diana would just laugh it off too. There would be no like, you don't do that. That's rude. You don't drive your car into people's shins. So I feel like he would have been screwed up in a way regardless because they never really were tough with him from the beginning. They always kind of felt bad for him because, oh, he was going to be William's secondary.
yeah, it is, and and then the fact that Charles and Diana were divorced, it just, I wonder if Charles treated Harry differently because of that. And like where Harry's to the point where, the fireworks, who's paying for it? Oh, you are, Dad.
Mhm.
Um, just because Charles was trying to make up for whatever and just throwing money at them. And if you think about it, I always forget. What did Harry get, like 4 million a year, 5 million? You always correct me. I don't remember.
4.5 million pounds.
What did
That's
he do with it? If you think about it, he should have a lot more money than
you
he
would
does
think.
because he's not having to pay for a whole lot of stuff, right? So you would think that he would just be saving that, but it appears that he was probably just spending it on stuff. Um, I really don't know. I am happy for Princess Catherine. And she said, and this is the thing, it's like, as the summer comes to an end, I cannot tell you what a relief it is to have finally completed my chemotherapy treatment. The last 9 months have been incredibly tough for us as a family. Life, as you know, it can change in an instant, and we've had to find a way to navigate the stormy waters and road unknown. Um, 9 months. And I do wonder now if my theory about her wearing a wig was correct. Because chemo, she probably did lose her hair at some point.
But not
And
all chemo makes you lose your hair.
no, they don't. No. Um, but she looked good. She probably looked, I mean, as healthy as I've seen her in the last 9 months. Although she looked really good a couple weeks ago when she was wearing that hat.
Mhm.
Um, and also I'm very impressed that she can drive a stick shift on with the left side. I
That
just
awesome. I love, like, I'm a stick shift driver myself. So when I see another woman driving a stick shift, I'm like, yes.
I can drive a stick shift just fine. I just could never ever in my head drive it with the stick on the left side. It would just it would just confuse me to no end. And I would just be, and is the clutch still on the left side when it's on a
I
right
think
side driving car? Or is the clutch on the right and the accelerator's on the left? I don't know. I just feel like, so yes, kudos to her for just like, and whoever decided that, hey, as part of the video, let's show her driving a stick shift.
Mhm.
Somebody came up with that idea because I
Mhm.
guarantee you Meghan Markle can't drive a stick.
Well, not that kind of stick, at least.
I knew you were going to go there. I knew it.
I
As soon
left
as
it
I
open.
said she can't drive a stick, I knew you were going to make some kind of sexual innuendo joke about it. I just knew it. That's how
I
well
was
I know
gonna
you.
make one earlier with a microphone, but I was like, no, let me leave it. But this one I couldn't keep it in.
Ah.
I'm sorry.
No, I no, it's fine. I knew it as soon as I said it. I go, I
You
just
set it
walked right
up.
into that one. I know I walked right into it. Um, Now she
No,
also go ahead.
Megan definitely can't drive stick, and Megan definitely isn't sporty because, as we saw, she can't even climb down during a hike without getting onto her ass and sliding down some stairs. So I feel like this was all just like showing Catherine as a superwoman, as a superhero. Like, despite whatever you're going through, whatever illness you're going through, as long as you have your family and your loved ones around you, then you can conquer anything, I feel like was the message there.
And also a couple things about the video. The kids actually looked happy. Like,
Hmm.
because you know it's this, okay, kids, we're gonna run around the woods today. It's probably gonna take a long time. They're gonna set up from different camera angles and stuff like that. And at some point, but they all looked extremely happy to be doing it and hanging out with mom and dad. But you brought up a good point about Megan not being sporty. And I'm trying to think in my head. I've never seen her ride a bike, I don't think.
Nope.
Um, I've never seen her like shoot a basketball, I don't think.
We've never seen her kick a ball. We've never seen her get involved in any of the skiing or sporting events or anything. We haven't seen her even do a skeet shoot, nothing. But we have seen her wear heels on the basketball court many, many times. But
I
no,
just she's been to so many sporting events and things with Harry. You would think at some point it would just happen naturally. But it hasn't. But it also makes me wonder, because Harry is, a fairly sporty guy, and which is why, the Invictus and polo and all that. But she just doesn't ever. It's really bizarre that you never see her out for a jog. You see her
no.
walking, you know, or like the hike or whatever, but you never see her. I don't know.
Well, to
It's
be honest, we technically don't even know if she went hiking because the photos were just in the parking lot. So she could have just walked around in the parking lot and then took off. Who knows if she actually went for a hike?
Well, she did go for that walk where she told her friends we were going for a hike. And then they came and they were dressed, like they're going for a hike.
Marcus and her
Yes,
friend. Yeah, I
yes.
remember that.
And she's like full on, trying to look like Abercrombie and Fitch, and
With
like
the
some
safari
REI outfit and just and they're like, Why are you all dressed? I thought we were going for
and
a
all her
hike."
jewelry too, right? And all the jewelry and then the ankle weights around her ankles with a safari hat on her head and
I
and the bandana around her neck.
but I've what always got me about that photo is she lied to her friends because she said, "Let's go for a hike. Come over, let's go hiking." And they dressed like they were going for a hike. And then here she is, just dressed to the nines. And if I'm them, I'm like, I thought we were going on a hike. You told us we're going on a hike.
But come on, Marcus should have known. Marcus should have known better, right? And he's
Yes, Marcus knows. Marcus knows all the secrets.
Where is Marcus? He's
I
been quiet.
haven't seen him in a while. Haven't seen him in a while.
Was he in Colombia with them, Enty?
I don't think so.
Oh, because I thought I heard that someone had said that he was in Colombia, but I didn't see his long hair and his belly, so I don't know. I didn't notice him.
No, I didn't. Although, it's a good place to go, for trafficking. So maybe.
Of course.
But no, I didn't. Um, Out of darkness can come light, so let that light shine bright.
Mhm.
I think that's a good place to end it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh, well, I appreciate you coming on as always, and it's just always nice to be able to talk about, certain topics that may be in a like a royal mess situation where there's like 10 people or whatever, and it's just nice to just sit and have a conversation and talk about things that, we like talking about or that's on our mind. And I'll try and find out if Marcus was in Colombia.
Yeah, find out. I definitely love these one-on-one chats with you. And I love that we can go more in depth on some topics and we can hear you expand more on certain because there are certain topics or certain things that you talk about that I wanted to know more. Like, remember you had mentioned Megan and the Cartier bracelet. Like, I've always wanted to know more about that. Like, why is she still wearing the one from Trevor, and why doesn't she have like a whole stack, like you mentioned, that she's wearing instead? Like, what is like, why is she constantly wearing? I guess we'll save that for another
Yeah,
day.
you know,
Let's do
if you
that.
get me started on her Cartier Love Fest, it's like this.
Let's save that for our next
Okay,
video.
because
How about
I
that?
do have a good 20-minute rant, so we'll save it
Okay,
for next time.
let's do
Uh,
that.
uh,
We'll save it for our next chat, and I'll put at the top of the list that we discuss that.
all right, that sounds great. Okay, you guys, I will talk to you later.